Barbara Susan Schreiber and Belinda Darlene Zetterower were 14-year-old best friends and 8th grade students at Attucks Middle School in Hollywood, Florida. Barbie, a green-eyed blonde, was the oldest of 3 children and lived in Hollywood, Florida, on Saracen Drive. Darlene, a brunette, lived at Southwest 44th Terrace in Fort Lauderdale. The girls were described by teachers and neighbors as sweet. Barbara was ill and missed school, but was nonetheless described as a bright student. Darlene was an accomplished poet. Darlene's mother was described as strict, and the girls were described as adventurous and constantly going from one friend's house to the other. Barbara had run away for 9 days earlier in 1975, but eventually returned. Barbie's mother, Joy, said the girls never hitchhiked. On June 18, 1975, Darlene told her mother that she was going to spend the night at Barbara's house. Later that night, she phoned her mother to say that they were spending the evening at their friend Valerie's house. Valerie, however, knew nothing about this plan. The girls then left Barbara's house. A 17-year-old neighbor said that the girls were with him until about 9 p.m. that night. They were dropped off on US 441 near a small shopping center. The girls were later seen walking together around 10 p.m. on State Road 7 north of Hollywood Boulevard trying to hitch a ride. Where they were headed was never publicly disclosed. When they did not return home, their parents began calling friends. Their bodies were found the following day near US 27 on a canal bank about 3 miles north of State Road 84 in western Broward County near Andytown. They were found around 9 a.m. by a father and his 2 children on a fishing expedition. The bodies were found around 150 yards from where Nancy Fox's body was found the previous Sunday floating in the canal. The girls were found fully clothed and lying side by side. Each had been shot once with a heavy caliber pistol, initially suspected to be a .45 caliber. There was no immediate evidence of a sexual assault, and police believe that they were killed at the canal because of the amount of blood that was found there. Because the area was popular with shooting enthusiasts, there were a number of spent shells that made it difficult to identify the caliber of the weapon used. Broward County Sheriff's Office received 300 calls but reported little progress in their investigation. They stated that despite the close proximity of time and location, they did not believe there was an immediate connection with the murder of Nancy Fox. The autopsy revealed that the girls died between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. on June 19th. Barbara had been shot through the right shoulder with a .45 caliber weapon and had probably bled to death. Belinda had been shot with a large caliber bullet in the right ear. Both girls had sexual contact before their deaths, but there was no initial evidence of sexual assault. One of the girls' underwear, however, was on backwards. A lead finally broke on Saturday following the disappearance when a beige 1974 Vega hatchback was found abandoned at a rental car of Miami. The car had been rented by an attractive, young, out-of-state woman accompanied by a dark-haired, neatly dressed man in his 20s. The car had only been rented for one day. When the car was not returned and was later found abandoned, employees found a .45 caliber bullet in the car. Grass and weeds in the undercarriage of the car were consistent with the growth in the area where the girls' bodies had been discovered. The car, interestingly, had been driven 600 miles in 2.5 days. The woman's registered name was not located at the hotel she had provided to the rental car company. Police later stated that the car, while looking like a promising lead, was not linked to the crime. Detective Elihu Ferris stated that the girls were going to meet an older guy to purchase drugs. This was inconsistent with what the girls' friends and families had said about the girls. Police began focusing on the possibility that the girls had secret lives outside of the ones their families were aware of. No arrests were ever made in connection with the girls' murders, which remain unsolved to this day. Thank you for listening. Please leave your comments below.